Hello and welcome into Monday night's edition of the Arizona State Sun Devils Insider Podcast. I am your host for the Arizona State Sun Devils Insider Podcast and your lead beat writer for the Arizona State Sun Devils on SI, Kevin Hicks. And I'm here to guide you tonight through some key parts of the week for Arizona State athletics as a whole. We've touched on this a little bit previously, but number 8 Arizona State volleyball is set to play a Thursday night game against Arizona, and they are close to clinching a Big 12 title under head coach JJ Van Neal. On Thursday night as well, Arizona State women's basketball makes a return to the hardwood, this time in their first road game of the year against the San Diego Toreros. Arizona State men's basketball is coming off of a victory on Sunday afternoon over Utah Tech, and they are set to face the Gonzaga Bulldogs at home on Friday night. And then Arizona State football on Saturday morning are set to host the homecoming game against the West Virginia Mountaineers and Coach Rich Rodriguez. And it's going to be an incredible week to be a fan of the Arizona State Sun Devils. Stay engaged with all the programs right now. Things are looking very, very positive on multiple fronts, and that leads me into a segue of today's episode, which we will be talking about some key points that we got from the Kenny Dillingham press conference earlier today, if you haven't seen what was said. So, to start out today's show, Coach Dillingham shut down any questions surrounding his future at Arizona State at the beginning of the press conference. At least that's what I gathered. He said we essentially were going to only take questions about West Virginia and things related to the matchup today. Kind of seems like he's closing the door on all that talk. He probably expected questions to surface about that. I came out with a piece on ASU on SI talking about how that could be a point of discussion during the press conference, so I'm sure he was prepared for potential questions. And by shutting them down, he let us know that he did not want to answer anything else after closing the chapter of potentially leaving for a job like Auburn or Florida on Friday morning on the Bigley and Murata show. Just less than a day after ASU insider Chris Cartman reported that he let the team know that he was going to be back next year. And the fact that he is completely focused on the team, the matchup that's ahead in West Virginia, in which he said that they are a rapidly improving team. They're difficult to prepare for. Rich Rodriguez is one of the great innovators of the game. He reiterated a lot of topics that arose in last week's press conference. He also brought up that their run defense has been the best in the Big 12 over the last 3 weeks. So that's going to be a huge challenge for quarterback Jeff Sims, running back Raleek Brown, the +1 game, the power run game, the offensive line that actually, according to Dillingham, had one of their best performances of the season, if not their best, against Iowa State. So there are a lot of moving parts in play. Potentially weather as well. There's rain in the forecast on Saturday morning and some Saturday afternoon as well. So that's something to monitor. Going into my second main point, injuries. So the confirmed returnees this week are edge rusher Prince Dorba and linebacker Tate Romney, who both missed the Iowa State game. They were true game time decisions, I would say. They both did not play, and having the extra week off looks like it's going to lend them enough time to make returns. Dorba left both the Texas Tech and the Houston game with what was an undisclosed injury, but it seems like he's been dealing with stuff on and off this whole season, so it's great to see him back, regardless of the capacity that he's in role-wise. Romney provides quality depth. There's already Keyshawn Elliott, Jordan Crook, and Martell Hughes in the fold, but Tate Romney's a great leader. He does exactly what's asked of him, and it's good to have him. It just is good to have him there. And as for Jordan Tyson, it sounds like he's not going to make it back for the West Virginia game, which is unfortunate since there's only 2 games left at home in his collegiate career, and there'll only be one after this week against Arizona in 2 weeks. Sounds like he's more likely to make the return against Colorado on the road. If you don't know, Jordan Tyson was a Colorado Buffalo as a freshman in 2022. He was probably the lone bright spot on that team, and then he transferred to Arizona State because Colorado decided to brush him aside late in spring practice in April, and it's been only up from there. He's going to be a first-round pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, and even though there's a lot to play for in the Arizona State season, Kenny Dillingham is not going to take any chances. He's going to look out for Tyson and his best interest at heart, and that's something that's extremely commendable about Coach Dillingham and the whole coaching staff. And that brings me into my last injury update. This is one that hurts a lot of people associated with the program. Xavier Alford will not return this season. He played in the first 2 games of the season. Dillingham revealed that he actually got hurt in off-season programs, and I wasn't aware of that. I didn't even know that. I thought that he got injured in the Mississippi State game or the NAU game. He got hurt before the season even started. He tried to push through it in the first 2 games, and then starting with the Texas State game, he was definitively held out. And Dillingham said it's going to be an extended absence. Once we got into October, at some points it seemed like it would be there was hope that he would return later in October for the Texas Tech or the Houston game. That never happened. And once we got to the bye week late in the season, it seemed like the door was closing quickly. And now it's officially closed. He's not coming back this season. And he's going to have a choice to either likely come back to school for another year to play, to rehabilitate his draft stock a little bit after only playing in 2 games in 2025, or to get ready for the NFL draft and take a chance on himself. Even though he's missed a good portion of 3 of the last 4 seasons, it absolutely sucks. X is a special leader. Just in the time that I've been around him, he's been a great representative of Tempe, of Arizona State, of the football program, a reflection of Coach Dillingham. And some people who have been around him more, like Chris Cartman, have said that he's the best leader that they've seen in their multiple years covering Arizona State, in Chris's case, over 20 years. So it's just a major, major blow. And they are fortunate to have Adrian Boogie Wilson to step up in the role. He's absolutely excelled for the most part, stepping in as the starting safety opposite Ghost Rouser. And you got to give credit to Coach Dillingham for finding Boogie in the transfer portal and securing his commitment. And that goes into the last thing that I really wanted to talk about was Coach Dillingham talking about how he hopes there's a good environment on Saturday morning. Going back to 2002, there's only been 1 game at Mount America Stadium that kicked off before noon. It was a 2014 game against Washington State, I believe, that kicked off at 11 a.m., the same start as this West Virginia game. Dillingham was talking about how this game is almost sold out once again, how he's hoping that people will show up early to do their tailgating, get the game day environment experience going, and hopefully the weather cooperates. There's a full live crowd to cheer on Arizona State in their homecoming game, and that the Sun Devils secure their 7th win of the year and stay alive in the Big 12 title race. And that's really all I have today. coverage-wise. I will be back tomorrow with another episode, possibly talking about practice or what was said after practice. We will see what gets covered, but until then, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode, and I will see you tomorrow.